Okay, should I start? Okay, I got you. Long story short, we had a lot of people to interview.
Can I test your voice again?
Hello. Hello. Because the first time when I told you, I had a lot of emotions where I couldn't barely talk.
Life's a journey.
Life is journey, not a destination.
Excuse me, do you mind if I ask you a few questions?
No, not at all.
So like at home, so there's a lot of like memories, and so that makes you comfortable.
I think it does. Yes, I think it does.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
What's been left behind? Growing up, I found it very hard to identify with my mom. She grew up in a small town in the middle of nowhere, and I'm growing up in the suburbs of a big city. I've discovered that we've had very different experiences, especially when it comes to being a teenager. When I first entered middle school, it felt like a huge step. Suddenly, people were dating, cursing, wearing makeup, and having exciting birthday parties. And I felt like that was what was supposed to happen. With very little guidance from my mom, I became obsessed with wanting to become popular and having as many Facebook friends as possible. I got pulled into a circle of unhappiness, only caring about who liked me and who didn't. I became a huge self-critic, wondering why I wasn't getting invited to sit at the cool table at lunch. Fast forward to the beginning of high school, and it was all I could think about, how I wasn't good enough. I wasn't the best player on the soccer team, I didn't have a boyfriend, and while I got good grades, I still felt like a social reject. It became difficult to talk to people because I felt like I would be judged, or I'd say something wrong and they'd think I was weird. This never-ending cycle kept pulling me down, and I lost all of my self-confidence. I would cry myself to sleep at night, wishing I was as skinny and pretty as the girls who got whatever they wanted. I'd always heard about people that hated everything about themselves, but never thought that'd be me. But after telling myself I wasn't good enough every day, I began to believe it. And once you believe something, it's very hard to go back. Have you ever had a dream where you are trying to run away from something and you aren't going anywhere, making no progress whatsoever? Then you snap awake and realize that you can run. When I finally opened my eyes, I could run away from all the negativity, but it was up to me if I wanted to. I began to look at the gorgeous girls I was jealous of and noticed that they weren't always happy either. Why did I want to be like them if they weren't fulfilled in life either? I wanted something I already had, dissatisfaction. I thought over this a lot and came to the conclusion that what I really wanted was to be happy, and had confused that with the feeling of being skinny and pretty. The people who make you cry don't matter, because the ones who matter won't make you cry. I'm still in the process of fully breaking out of the circle, but I know for sure I don't want to be in there anymore. The only person who has control over me and can change me is myself. I want to do the things that I'm passionate about and not care if I'm judged for it. I want to be independent, adventurous, and true to myself. I'm leaving the old me behind.
काय हरवले मी माझ्या जीवनात. One day, a small, happy family encountered a very bad time. The father was fighting with mother, and he left her and her 2 sons. After the father left the mother, she was in challenging time because she didn't have any work. She couldn't even feed her children. They couldn't pay the rent. They were forced to leave their home, and they were living on streets, railway stations, and footpaths. The family begged for food and started their begging life. But that mother was very ambitious, looking for work. She left their city and went into another city. One day at the railway station, a terrible thing happened. When trying to board the train, family got separated and the mother lost her younger son. That thing hurt her so much. Then she went into depression and became mentally challenging. After that matter, She did not allow her elder son to go anywhere because she feared that again she will lose him. The son had to take care of his mother. She had become so sad she couldn't feed herself anymore. But one day, a journalist saw her. She was not in the condition to talk with him, and so he asked her son about them, and he decided to put them in the newspaper. After that, so many hands come forward to help them. But one hand is a great hand that started them towards their new life. That is Maher. Maher is an NGO that helps destitute women and children from all over India. They gave shelter to the mother and her son. They treated her in the hospital and helped her to become a normal, healthy woman. Now she is working in the organization and she is helping make things to help other women and children. Her son is talented. He participated in all academic and cultural events and is growing up with all of the other children. They are making progress in their life. My dear listeners, this story is a real story which has really happened with my mother. I am her son. I am becoming connected to another world now. A world of happiness, full of new people. I am feeling lucky to be a part of this community. What I have left behind. I have left behind my mother's struggle, my home, my family, and my brother. I know now that time will not come again. So now, my goal is to give to my mother what we left behind. I want to give her her own home, and I want to give something back to those that gave me shelter and supported me in my bad time. If they had not helped me, I would not be where I am today.
Three ethnic groups, 2 countries in 1 nation. That is Bosnia and Herzegovina. Bosnia is under my skin. It's a place you cannot leave behind. I was obsessed by the nightmares of it all. There was this sense of guilt and an anger that has become much deeper over the last 18 years of my life. It only takes bad leadership for a country to go up in flames, for people of different ethnicity, color, or religion to kill each other as if they had nothing in common. If greedy or bloodthirsty leaders come to power, it can all go down. It happened to us. It can happen to you. Hundreds of thousands were sent to death, and the world took too long to act. The genocide we all predicted. I never wanted an independent Bosnia. I wanted Yugoslavia. That's my country. Ne nisu jučer ubili majku, srušili kući. Ubili su babo, moje djetinjstvo, mladost, snove, sav moj život. I was born and raised in Denmark. We tried to get back to our home country again, but the country was divided, based on whether you were Serbian, Croatian, or Bosnian. This meant that we had lost our home, and we had nothing to come back to. The house my mother grew up in was surrounded by a lush green forest. It felt like serenity. It seemed untouchable. The garden had colorful flowers and a plum tree, which made the best rakia in the world. My mother used to swim in the crystal blue lake, which led up to a waterfall. All people lived as friends. My family and I cannot go back. So we tried to live in Denmark and tried to get our family on the right track. Living in refugee camps had caused my father's alcoholism and resulted in my parents' divorce. My mother wanted to go back to law school so she could take care of my sisters, but the government did not allow her to. We got isolated and lacked opportunity to change our situations, and we felt that we lost all of our hopes. We thought that if we had stability, we could meet the rest of my families, who I've never seen before. Every summer, all the Bosnians in my town went to Bosnia and came back with pictures of their families and a home where they could be safe. I was always angry at my mother because we never went there, but as I grew older, I started to understand my mother She never exactly told me why, but instead I heard a screamer at night that woke me up instantly. When I woke up and went to her room, she was all sweaty and her eyes looked like she had just escaped from murders, hungry for her and her family. My mother witnessed my grandfather being tortured and hanged in their own home. She screamed and begged, saying, "If you have a heart, please don't kill us." But the soldiers killed him, like he was not a human. They burned the house with my grandfather inside. My parents and my older sister were smuggled out of the country, through the mountains. The things my mother dreams of are not fantasy. My mother is haunted by the memories. My identity is confused. I long for a country that does not exist yet. We who were born during and after the war shall not live the destiny which our old generations had done to our country. Instead of hating each other, we shall embrace and be proud of how diverse Bosnia and Herzegovina is. I want to see my country as united. This is just a little piece of what I've experienced, and this has changed me as a person. My core mission is to equip the next generations of young people in Bosnia and Herzegovina with the knowledge, skills, leadership qualities, and international values that is necessary to bridge the still existing ethnic divisions and move my country into the 21st century. I want to offer that help regardless of differences. Despite Bosnia's poor prospects, I claim that the country's grassroots youth activists, like me, could lead the way for social and political change. Što ne boli, to ni život. Što ne prolazi, to ni sreća. We leave behind friends, trouble, even our own identity. We do this for the better or worse, inverting our entire lives.
Yesterday is yesterday.
That much we know for sure. And if we try to chase it,
Then today will be a blur, and we can even lose tomorrow.
what's been left behind?
काय हरवलंय मी माझ्या जीवनात?
Šta sam ostavila? Vernica Dedic, Bosnia and Herzegovina, living in Denmark. Global Leadership Forum.
Darshan Patil from India, Global Leadership Forum.
Stephanie Eaton, Seattle, Washington, United States, Global Leadership Forum.